Okay, 2 years ago, you guys bought a farm.
Yep.
And a total fixer-upper. No offense, your house is super gross when
It
you bought it.
It was so gross.
How did you juggle schooling while you were remodeling your house? I mean, I think that's a really hard thing for people to grasp is how do I life while I school?
How do I life while I school?
Hey there, I'm Melissa with the WanderStruck.Family, and I am here with my dear friend Rachel, who actually happens to be from the YouTube channel 4 Kids and a Farm. So check them out, they're amazing. But she also is a homeschooler, and we've been in the trenches together for what, 5 years?
Yep.
So she's got some great story to share, great nuggets of wisdom, and some amazing best practices, so stick around. Hi.
I just remember feeling overwhelmed in the beginning.
So you started homeschooling a kindergartner and a second grader.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start actively homeschooling your kids right away after you pulled them out, or did you feel like they kind of needed like a detox? Or
yeah, it's definitely changed. It's not like strictly sit down at a desk and do your work kind of thing. It's like, yeah, we definitely had to like get our own rhythm, and I just really felt pulled to do it. And I was just like, okay, tell me, Heavenly Father, because I don't know if I should be doing this. Like, I just want to pull my kids completely out of this system and just homeschool. And it wasn't something that I took lightly, because we used to have a charter school. We used to go to public school, and we loved it. It was an amazing experience. But with this one, it just wasn't a right fit. And so I'm like, well, should I pull them? And just like kind of give me a sign, like, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't look for signs, right? So I'm just like, it was an exhausting night. My kids were kind of rowdy. They didn't even get dinner yet, and it was like super late. And so on the drive home, it's so funny. On the drive home, I think I stopped at like Chick-fil-A. I know we stopped there because I was like, oh, I gotta feed them. And I usually pay cash for things. And I was scrounging through my wallet to have like this exact change, and I was pulling up to the window, and like I had the exact change. I know it's kind of stupid, but I was like, oh, okay, thanks, like, for providing for me. I had this horrible night, but I feel like I was supposed to be there, and I felt like he was taking care of me. It may have been like the exact change for a silly Chick-fil-A meal, but I feel like it's like, oh, I recognize what you're doing. I see what you're striving for. So I'm going to kind of help you out, and I'm going to show you I'm there. So yeah. So that was just like a tiny little miracle that I took into kind of pushing me forward. And that wasn't the only thing. I continued to pray about it. I continued to figure it out. And I remember calling you, because you're my homeschool mom go-to. And I remember calling you. I'm like, okay, I think I want to homeschool. You homeschool your kids. Like, what do I do? I have no idea.
What is this look
I have no idea. What is this?
Where do I start?
Because it's different for everybody. So I called you, and I remember you were just like, you're gonna feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant. And I was like, what? You're gonna feel like I'm gonna give you so much information, and you're gonna feel like you're drinking from a fire hose, and you want to do all these things. And I did. I totally felt inadequate and fearful, and am I gonna mess my kids up? And I don't know anything, but you're their mom, you're their parent, and look how far you've got them now. And you are qualified to do the work if you put in the work. And so I just felt like, okay, like I've got drive. I've got, spirit. I remember something you told me in the beginning too. You told me just love them. Like just love them when you're teaching, just love them, because if you hate teaching, if you are like hating it, they're going to feel it, and that's going to come off and just add this yucky atmosphere to your home. Like I remember homeschool moms that were like in the trenches, they'd be like, oh, just give it like 3 years and you'll get like more comfortable. But
and you're thinking, 3
years. That's so long.
There's a really great TED Talk, and it's fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, it applies to so many things, and I feel like homeschooling is one of those things.
Yep.
So it wasn't always your plan to homeschool? That kind of...
No, it wasn't even, like, on my radar. I wasn't... I'd always kind of like, oh, I could homeschool, or should I homeschool? But it wasn't ever like, oh, I should really get into it. It wasn't on my radar, like, at all. I remember talking to you about it, actually, because you were like the first, she was like the first homeschool mom that I really knew, because you think of like homeschool moms and you're like, you guys are weird. You are like, that's like what people think, like when you talk about homeschool, you're like, oh, they're going to be like that social weirdo that doesn't know how to do it. But I met you and I was like, your kids aren't weird. Maybe a little, no. But like, like they're thriving. They're super smart, and well-behaved.
The things that my kids are weirdos at, I'm a little proud of. I'm like, I love that you're weird in that way. I love that you're not like the typical teenager. I love that you don't roll your eyes at me when I ask you to do something. I like that you break out in a random song. I'm okay with that stuff.
So true.
I'm okay if you guys want to sing show tunes together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't set out like, okay, we're doing this all the way through.
No.
You set out, we're going to do it for now.
Yeah. It wasn't like, all right, I'm going to homeschool for the rest of my life. And it's still.
But it was more just like we're going to try it and see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was more like, okay, we're going to try it. I can't mess them up in a year. So. Or any more worse than they're already doing. So I don't know.
I think you definitely felt confident that you could do better than what was happening at school.
Yeah.
That was one thing I know you felt sure of from the beginning was, I'm not going to do any less than they're already doing.
Yeah.
How do you feel now?
Do
you feel like you've screwed them up in 5 years?
Oh, no. Oh, no way.
Do you feel like you could do it all the way through? Do you think
I feel like I could do it all the way through now.
Do you still
ask me that in the beginning, and I would have been like, "Oh my gosh,
high school?
What?
Oh my gosh,
are you kidding me? Like, oh my gosh."
Well, now you just entered junior high this year, so we're not scaring you about.
Hurrah!
Once you started homeschooling your boys, what did your day look like? How did it start off? Or what did you start with, I guess? Kind of curriculum or...
So I ordered my curriculum, but it didn't come for a long time.
Oh, I remember that. Yours took a long time.
It took forever, and I was kind of frustrated.
When we say forever, it was like upwards of 3 months.
Yeah, it was a while. And so I kind of had to like improvise. And so I'd ask you what you did, and then I just came up with things like, we went out and I was like, all right, we're going to study bugs today. And so we went out and we found the bugs outside in the backyard and we looked at every single one. And then we went and we did a paper on it. And then we drew the picture of them and we cut out, and we made a report of just like this bug in the backyard. So you don't have to have.
You didn't want to buy a bunch of stuff. You didn't want to buy a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't want to buy anything because I knew the stuff was coming. And so it's just like, I'm not going to go buy a bunch of stuff when I know my stuff is coming. So
I have stuff. It's just not here.
So I was frustrated. So I did a lot of online.
Yours took a long time. Do you feel like it was quality? Like, do you feel like the time you spent with your boys doing that was it worth it?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
it totally was. The best thing about homeschool is one of the best things I don't know. Some people don't like their kids. But I love my kids, and I think that was one of the things that just like clicked for me was like, I get to see you as a person individually. I get to see how you learn. Are you visual? Are you kinesthetic? Like I get to see you and I get to be with you. Um, and you kind of give that up. I kind of gave that up when I had them in public school, which is fine. We had a great charter school and they were thriving in it.
With them and
It's
sharing
like
them
the
with
light
them.
bulb moment. Like, you see their little light go off and you're like, oh, yay. Win-win, mom win.
I was a part of that.
I was a part of that. That's what I love. I love it. So.
But you didn't do, so once your curriculum came in,
Mhm.
you had more workbook-ish
Yeah,
work.
it was more workbook-ish stuff.
And how did it work for you?
At the time, it worked fine. When I first started out, like, it was great. I loved it. We started off with like sing, spell, read, and write, and the kids had a little chart, and they would like move their little car, and when they achieved a goal, and just cutesy stuff like that. It was more hands-on, which is fine. Just teaching them all there was little games in it, and then we did Matthew C, which was okay. It worked for the time, and so yeah. I don't know. So yeah, we had more structure. For me, I need the structure to lay out my day and then plan accordingly how it falls, and be flexible with how it falls. And if we're behind, like, you just have to give yourself some grace and
if you expect
roll with it.
You expect math to last an hour.
Oh, right, yeah.
An hour and a half later, you're pulling out your hair. You have to be.
Take a break.
I'm walking away.
Yeah,
we're doing something different.
Yeah,
this isn't working out.
Because you don't want them to hate learning.
Right.
You don't want them to be like, oh, like another, I don't want that for them.
You can't force that light bulb moment.
Yes, you can't force it. So,
but you didn't continue with workbooks forever because you have
No.
since done different things. So was it the following school year that you changed, or did you change mid-school year?
I changed like every year because I wasn't feeling it, and the kids were doing great in it, but I was just like, what is something that's good for, a good fit? Like this is it. I didn't find it. I kept going through different curriculums like crazy.
Well, if you're not excited to teach it as a parent,
yeah,
it's evident to your kids. So they're not going to be excited to learn it because there's just no excitement there.
No.
Yeah. So you switched over from
workbooks.
So the next you're doing classical
conversations.
Yeah, classical conversations. Switched over from workbooks to classical conversations and did, 2 years?
Yeah.
You did 2 years.
2 years.
And then it didn't work anymore, right?
Right.
You loved it.
I loved it.
We did it together.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know about classical conversations, check out my previous video. It talks a little bit about different types of schooling, different types of education, and you can learn about classical conversations there, or you can check the link below for their website. We're not selling classical conversations, but it's just something we experienced, and if you'd like to know more information about it, you can check that out.
Mm-hmm.
So once you left the classical conversations community, what did you guys move on to?
The Good and the Beautiful.
The Good and the Beautiful?
Yeah.
And how has that worked out for you?
Amazing. I love The Good and the Beautiful. Like,
who doesn't love
The Good and the Beautiful? Like,
good and beautiful things.
It's awesome because it's all encompassed, and it reminded me of classical conversations because there is that like memorization and there is all the facts, but I love that it has everything knit into it,
I have to say, Ella's doing their high school curriculum, and I really love their English high school curriculum.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
It's just, it fits well for our family.
How do you teach your kinder when you're trying to teach your other kids?
I don't.
Or vice versa?
Well, I set up times so that she doesn't get neglected because kindergarten takes a lot. That's like the foundation.
Speak of the rascal.
Speak of the devil. Speak of the
Can I
cutie.
go
We're
swimming?
we're not going swimming right now.
The pool's right here, by the way. So if they go swimming, we are going to A, get wet, and
Grandma just got them this
B,
pool the other day, and they are like dying to get out and play in it. And we're like right by it. And we're like, no, sorry.
we were talking about how you school to your youngest one when you have your older ones. And
Oh,
you said
yeah.
you set a timer so she doesn't get neglected.
Yeah. It's just like, that's why I have my alarms. I'm like, this is Alora time. You go get on your math. You can do that independently. This is my time for, you know, just teaching that one-on-one time. So I do that with everything with them. Like if somebody needs one-on-one time, then I'll put them on something that they can work at independently. And then it's all flowing together.
That's
So,
good. That's a good suggestion. What do you do on days you wake up and you don't want to do school? Like you've lost the wind out of your sail and you're like, I just don't want to. I'm not feeling it. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do on those days to get out of bed and get going?
I don't know. I'll probably grab like a Kiwi Crate. I love Kiwi Crates. I'll probably grab like a Kiwi Crate or some kind of craft or have them go paint or something and just be like, I don't have a lot of those days, honestly. Like, but when I do, you know, I'll just be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. Like, how can I still help them learn in some way?
I think you have to be prepared. There's days that your kids are going to wake up and they're going to be demons.
Right.
And you don't get to send them anywhere.
Yeah, no.
You're still stuck with them.
Yeah.
And so you have to be flexible for those days.
Yes.
You know, I had this rigorous schedule plan.
Yep.
And I can't even stand to be around you right now.
Right.
So here's a book.
Yeah.
Go read.
Go have your reading time. Like, yeah, you definitely have to be flexible because, you know, just like we have our moody days or whatever, you know, sometimes they're not going to be feeling it and you're going to have to work with what you have. One of the greatest tools that I like to use is reading because everybody remembers a good story. Everybody remembers those things, right? And so you're still learning and you're creating that love of learning and that love of reading within them.
I love when we read books together and then we can all talk about them together, as opposed to, you know, when your child reads a book and then they come back and they tell you about it or they're talking to their sibling about it. But when it's like watching a good movie together, you know, and you go back and you talk about the movie, well, same idea with the book. And you can talk about the choices that the character made and really dive into the details and the plot of the book together. I love that. And you guys do audiobooks.
Yeah, we do audiobooks.
A lot of audiobooks.
Yeah, we love
I don't want to say a lot, but you do. You do.
Every night we listen to audiobooks, which helps instill. Like I have one who hated to read. Now he just like opens books and stuff like that because he started listening to audiobooks.
Was he a late reader? Like, do you feel like he just because he was like, I just don't want to.
It just was their interest wasn't there.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
And you feel like audiobooks are what got him there?
Yeah, I feel like he was like, oh. Just the drudgery of like sitting there and looking at the words and just like, oh, like I think that was taken away. And so you have to go like a different route. And so I just was like, oh, well, let's just start with audiobooks. You're still reading, you're listening, you're getting that, you know, that development. And so I think that really opened his eyes to like, oh, well, this can be interesting, you know? And so now he'll open a book and he'll read it because it's interesting.
When you say your kids listen to audiobooks at night, do you put it on and have them listen to it while they're in bed? Or do you kind of play it towards the end of the night as the signal of, okay, it's time to start winding down and getting ready for bed?
During bed. Like
heads on pillows?
Yeah, heads on pillows.
Learner. You can walk into her house at any time and she's got a stack of books that she's reading and you're not really like a historical reader type thing. No. She's more of a life relevance reader. Like, how can I read something to benefit my life, to improve, you know, what it is that I'm doing? How can I make our lives easier? How can I, you know, better our budget? How can I be a better cook? You know, you're always learning new things. Yeah. You definitely are. That's your thing. Oh, well, and I think that's important as moms. We need to not lose ourselves. It's okay for us to learn along with our children, but it's also important for us to continue to learn things that interest us. And as our children see us learning things, as they see us having a love for education and improving ourselves, that in itself is a lesson for them. That they see, oh, I can continue to learn. I don't have to, learning just doesn't happen between this hour and this hour, or when I sit at a desk.
Yeah.
I'm always learning. I'm always learning new things. I'm always developing myself as a person. And I think that's very important.
Yeah, totally.
What do you want for your kids in the future?
I want them to love learning, and I want them to know about the world around them, and I want them to be good people. I want them to, you know, go off to school and continue in their education. Like, I see them doing great things with everything that they have been foundationally taught in our home. So that's what matters. Like, you have a name and you need to represent it well, and you know that name doesn't just reflect upon you. It shows who your parents are. It shows, you know, the people before you, who that name was and what it represents. And
That's way nicer when I tell my kids. Mine goes something along the lines of, I am giving you the prime years of my life.
I know.
So don't waste them.
Don't waste my years. Oh, I know, right? Oh, so much goes into it.
I know you've talked a lot about different curriculums you've used, but are there any other products that you've come across in homeschooling that you've loved or you've been really excited to use? At one point you said you love Kiwi Crate.
I do. I love Kiwi Crate. They're just fun, and the kids get excited when they come in the mail, and they're just like, Kiwi Crates! Like, they love it. They're such nerds, and I love it.
If you don't know what Kiwi Crate is, it's a monthly kit that your kids can get. They have different age, like different kits for different ages that have different focuses. This video is not sponsored by them. It's just a product.
We're just showing what we love.
Yeah, it's just something that we love. You can click below. We'll put a link below for Kiwi Crate.
They do a good job.
They do a great job. And there's like a little booklet that comes with each kit to talk about further what it is that you're doing or activities and how it applies in the real world. And
yeah, it's cool. I like them.
It makes it interesting. Noah likes the not the doodle crate. What's the engineering one? Tinker Crate. Noah, my son, loves the Tinker Crate, which is more engineering and
my boys like that one too.
Yeah,
we like to switch it up.
Yeah. And you can get on there. You can buy individual kits if maybe there's something you're focusing on. I noticed you had a human body hanging up in your learning room. So if you're doing anatomy, sometimes you can buy just an individual crate.
Okay, love story of the world. Just because you can put it on.
Do you love the CDs or do you do the workbooks also?
Well, we did the workbooks in the beginning, and we loved them too. The kids loved doing the little workbooks, but I love listening to them because we all put it on in the car when we're going on a road trip or something. I know we're dumb and listen to history on the road trip, but whatever. So we'll listen to history, and you know, there's some things like Aaron. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." You know, I'm like, "It's story of the world."
You're learning together.
Exactly, you're learning together. Let's make art kits. I love those. Those are like my
the watercolor.
The watercolor.
Yeah, she does beautiful.
She does beautiful.
And the lessons are fabulous. We've done a couple of those.
I love her.
I like that you can purchase individual boxes as opposed to having to subscribe, because we don't do enough of them to make it worth doing every month, but we'll order maybe a couple of them, and then once we get through those we'll order some more.
Right.
So
yeah, I really love them. My oldest did BYU online
for science, right?
He did it for science, and he also did it for math.
But it wasn't a college course he took.
It wasn't a college course. No. It's specifically through the junior high program that they do. So I thought that was interesting and kind of fun. It honestly, it's a little dry. Yeah. we'll see if he does it next year or not. But if you're looking for online things, like I think it's fine, but it was a little dry for us.
Free or was it low
No,
cost?
it was I forget how much it was. It was about like 100 something per class.
Okay.
So it's kind of like you pay a tuition for it. You kind of treat it like a college class, but there's help online that you can get through it. There's tutors online you can get through it. Everything is online.
And it's included with their tuition, the tutors.
And it's included, yeah. It's just, yeah, it's all included.
That's cool. So if they're doing like, let's say a math course.
It kind of reminds me of college online. Like it's kind of treated like that. Like, you know, they give you a syllabus, here's your lessons laid out. You can kind of go, you have a deadline, and then at the end of your deadline, I believe you go in for like the physical testing where you go in with a proctor. Proctor, is that what you call them? I don't know.
For the test.
Where you go in for the test, and they have somebody there with you testing just to make sure, like, you know, keep with the honor code of not
But when
cheating.
you say go in with you, you mean go into like an online room?
They go into,
because it's fully online.
Nope, it's not.
No?
So that's after you finish the course. So you finish the course, and then there is a final. So then you have to go in for the final
to a physical location
that your charter school sets up. This is how it works here in Cali, but yeah, you physically go there, and then you take the final, all that good stuff.
I know BYU Online has junior high courses that you can take. They also have high school courses that you can take, and then they also have college courses that you can take as a high schooler for dual enrollment.
Yeah.
And there are many colleges out there that do offer that, and they have different age limits for how old you have to be in order to do dual enrollment. But I think BYU, I believe, is 16. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they're 16.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But you can check out the different specifics. Maybe we'll have to do a future video on high school and dual enrollment, because I know that's a big bonus for high schooling, is being able to do dual enrollment and having college credits when you graduate high school. So
yeah, maybe you should tell them what dual enrollment is.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because I don't know what it is.
Dual enrollment is
I do, because
I told you.
No, because I did it when I was in.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
so dual enrollment is where you are a high schooler taking a class that counts as your high school credits, but you also are receiving college credits for that class as well. So when you graduate high school, you already have some college credits under your belt that you earned for taking, you know, you'd have to take science or certain histories or certain math anyways. And so if you're able to do it as a dual enrollment class, you're already taking classes that you'd be required to take in order to graduate, and then also receiving college credits at the same time. So when you do graduate high school, you don't have to take those introductory level classes in college again. You've already taken them.
Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
We hope so.
It is as clear as mud. Okay, best practice. You set alarms.
Best practice.
Yeah, you set alarms to keep yourself on track.
Keep me on track, yeah. My education specialist thought it was cute. I was like, okay, I don't know. But I'll set alarms because I just like to stay on track. Okay, this is when recess is. We're a little late. Let's go.
I have to set alarms when I turn loose for recess because I'll get distracted doing something.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
And
then I'll have, that's what I'll do too. Like I have our schedule on my phone, and it just like, this is when we're starting math. This is when we're starting, school, English. You guys get on this. Just kind of set them up for the day. And
I know currently all your kids do teaching textbooks.
Yeah, except for Sissy, but they all do teaching textbooks. So that's more independent. So that's another one we like. It just kind of takes the work out of it for me. I'm not a math person, let's be honest.
Well, when you're trying to teach to 3 or 4 different levels, it's great that it does the lesson specifically for them. And then I like that you can get online and look at the grading.
Yes, that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
It's like if they start to get in the red I call it, like, and they start getting like a problem, I'm like, okay, let's go back. What are you
struggling with a skill?
What are you not understanding here? And then you can go over it with them. That's what I love about it. It's like, what's going on? You just kind of like keep track. Okay, I need to teach you more about this. So, That's what I love about it. And it's just more independent for them. They take that responsibility, and so they can do it.
Okay, 2 years ago, you guys bought a farm.
Yep.
And a total fixer-upper. No offense, your house was super gross when you
totally
bought it.
It was so gross.
And has it been a year? You spent a solid year gutting this house and completely redoing everything on the inside.
Yep.
I mean, they re-drywalled it, retextured it, new flooring. It was really gross when they bought it.
The ceiling was off. Like, ugh.
How did you juggle schooling while you were remodeling your house? I mean, I think that's a really hard thing for people to grasp is how do I life while I school?
How do I life while I school?
Or how do I school while I life?
For us, it was just, that was a really crazy, hectic time. We're living at one place, and then we're coming out and driving every single day to come and work on this house. And
it was a good hour round trip.
Yeah.
Just to go to and from.
Yeah, to and from. And so, yeah, it was hard. But I made it a priority for the first part of our day to be school. Like, okay, this is my time limit I'm giving myself today to get school stuff done, whether we're reading or whatever. But like, you know, I still want there to be growth. I still want them to be learning. And so I would schedule out a chunk of time and just be like, okay, this is our time to do the work and to do the school. And then we'd come out here, and it wasn't like that every single day. Like, we'd come out here and we'd be outside and we would look at things and we would find frogs and do frog study and, you know, just make it part of everything that we're doing. Or, you know, even working on the house, like, you know, how to paint a wall. Like, I mean, there's home stuff that you can do to teach your kids as well. And
your kids were an active part.
Oh yeah, they were
in redoing the house.
Remember the wallpaper? She came and helped me take off the wallpaper.
It was the ugliest wallpaper.
I
remember we said, we're just gonna start with this wall. We'll just do this part, and then we were like,
it was awful.
But now this wall looks so ugly. Now we gotta take it off of this wall.
Awful. It was everywhere.
And then once we took that off, we went, this whole peninsula looks really gross. We should redo the whole kitchen.
And you know what's sad?
And if you're gonna redo the whole kitchen, you should redo
the walls. We took out the wall.
And once you took out the floor, remember we were scraping linoleum off the floor. And once we took out the floor, it was like, that ceiling's really
right.
gross.
I might as well just take that out as well. I mean, geez, once we're going up.
And then it got to this point where you were like, to heck with it, just got it.
Yep. And then there were some things where you just like, oh,
you couldn't ignore,
or you ran into and you're like, oh great, well that wasn't in the budget, or you know, anyway.
Yeah.
But life happens.
But my point is, the schooling looked different for you. It wasn't, you went from doing textbooks, then you went to doing classical conversations, and then you did schooling at home. But I feel like that year you had a lot more grace with yourself.
Oh yeah.
And
a lot more room. I wasn't so strict.
Yeah. And it was very much about outside learning play. Go outside, go play outside, go find new things, go play in the mud and build your mud castles. And while you're redoing this house and while your kids are learning this new outdoor play, your husband would bring home new pets and animals, slowly building their family farm.
I call him the animal hoarder.
It was like, he brought home a pig today.
You know who lived on this farm first? The chicks and the animals. Yeah. We weren't even out here.
Like, she was driving out here just to feed the animals.
Just to feed the animals. I was like, oh dear. It was fun.
But the kids have now learned about taking care of the animals, like the care and keeping of them, and the life cycle of them.
Yes, the life cycle
coming into the world and going out of the world. And I mean, there's been a lot of learning that's happening that's completely new, completely different, that wouldn't have happened though if you guys hadn't put the time in to make that change.
Yeah.
And that was scary. I was really scary. It was. You were like, I remember she was like, we bought a house and it's super gross. And I remember you saying, I know we're supposed to buy this house, but
I know we're supposed to be
so
here, but I'm so it's a lot of work. And it's still a lot of work, but
right.
But I love it. Like,
it is.
We wouldn't change this life.
Yeah, I want some words of wisdom. What do you wish somebody would have told you 5 years ago when you first started, or what something that somebody told you? I know you touched a little bit on that.
You can do it. If you really feel like it's something that you need to do with your family, or something that's been kind of like pulling at your heartstrings, like, you can do it. You can totally do it. And I think that giving yourself a lot of grace as you're learning and as you're starting, like if you've never done it before, when you're just getting into the trenches and everything is exhausting and you're drinking from a fire hydrant, just give yourself grace and take it a day at a time. I wish I could tell myself, like, it'll get better, you'll get into a rhythm, you'll find what works best for your family as you continually seek that. So for me, I would just say to my 5 years ago self, like, you can do it, and give yourself a lot of grace, because it's definitely a different kind of learning that can benefit your kids, because it changes. It's always changing. It's something that I pray about every year. Who knows if they'll go back to school? Right now, no, they are not going back to school. And it's something I pray about, honestly, every year. And I just would say, hey, you can do it. And if it's something that you feel like you're led to do, then do it. You're the greatest teacher for your kids, and they can learn so much from you. Just give yourself some confidence. It's what I lacked a lot, is confidence. I'm like, Melissa, am I doing this right? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
Am I screwing them up?
You can, like, what if it all you want, but have faith in yourself. You're raising your babies, and you get to teach them along the way. Like, it's the best thing ever. So you can do it. That's what I would say, is, Rachel, you can do it, and have faith, and don't be so hard on yourself.
It changes your family dynamic, for sure.
Totally.
You have to be prepared for your whole family to change. I think, like, for us, it changed for the better.
Oh yeah, totally.
It brought us closer together, but you have to be prepared for, there has to be some change. And there has to be change because you're together all the time. You have to communicate better and say, I am putting myself on timeout right now. I will be in my room for the next 30 minutes or the next hour, because mom's going to timeout.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yay. Thank you. You're welcome.
Love you.
I love you too.
Ooh.
True dat.
They're excited.
Sorry. My leg is falling asleep. I'm so sorry.
That's gonna go into the hashtag mom life.
I know, right? Hashtag mom life. But
don't embarrass me.
Yeah, don't embarrass me.
Don't go be jerks. That would be great.
Yeah, be a nice human, okay?
Homeschool life. This is what you see when we're filming. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.